You're listening to Blind Chats with the Back Road Chicks.
Welcome to the Late Night Cruise.
The Late Night Cruise.
We're your hosts,
Courtney
and Brienne. Buckle in.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Like a checkoff?
Like a checkoff? It's midnight.
Les poissons, how I love les poissons, such a sweet little succulent crab.
Because I got all of that.
I'm just, we're going to have to dedicate this episode again to Wendy's again.
Wendy's.
For their delicious.
As we sit here and we eat.
Son of a baconator. Just really like this fresh beef, this extra bacon and ketchup. You slut. I've been waiting for you all day.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I lost the little greeble. There it is. Fresh beef. Thank you, Wendy's.
Bacon. And chocolate ice cream.
Oh. Then it's so much better than a baconator because it's juicier.
Well, there's less patties. There's fewer patties. So there's more meat to bun ratio.
The ratio is better, but it's juicier. But I got extra bacon to make it more bacony.
I'm still working on my ice cream.
I need like 75 bacon on this bad boy. Bacon. Crispy.
Crispy batch.
For those of you, I don't normally talk with my mouth full.
Thank
you. But I had to emphasize how delicious that was, so you had to listen
You had to hear it. You had to know, folks.
Oh, you definitely did.
What?
But
What?
I'm really excited.
Uh-huh.
So, from our
Tell
pilot,
me why.
Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a mistake. Now tell me why.
I never want to hear you say.
Now, number 5.
I want it that way. Welcome back, folks.
Hi, welcome back.
Welcome back to Crazy.
Yes, the crazy train has left the station.
Oh, long gone, honey.
Konnichiwa. I am really excited. So, when we filmed our pilot episode and we were talking about chloroform.
Yes.
One of our viewers reached out and answered the question. So shout out to Hyman. Thank you. That is your code name, Hyman.
Oh, boy.
I much appreciate he let us know that, in fact, chloroform only lasts for about 15 minutes.
Oh.
Yes. It calms, the brain, but it doesn't, the nervous system's still going. So men can actually still apparently get an erection. But
that's okay.
Right? But their mind is numbed out. So chloroform only lasts as long as you can, while it's being administered. But the second you let up, you've got 15 minutes and you got to run.
I got a great story about chloroform.
Oh, I want to hear it. So thank you again, Hyman.
Thank you, Hyman.
So your story.
My story, I got a buddy who lives on the West Coast. And he
made 2 sandwiches.
2 sandwiches. Yes, that's exactly who it is.
And I didn't even know.
He posed a question to our gaming group.
Okay.
In voice chat. So we were talking. And he goes, "Hey guys, what's that stuff that, you hold over your face and make you go to sleep?" And he goes, "It starts with a P."
Oh, no.
And our other buddy, without missing a beat, goes, "Chloroform?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's the one."
Made the P silent, looking like a pterodactyl.
Yeah, exactly. So every time either they're trying to look for what a word means or anything that starts with a P, chloroform? Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Yep, that's it.
That's so funny.
Yes,
I love it.
That is 2 sandwiches, boy.
You'll have to tell the viewers that story at some point.
I will tell you another day.
Right? Oh, too funny.
So chloroform only lasts for 15 minutes.
Apparently.
That's interesting.
I know. I wonder if it lasts longer on men versus women, or for body size or body weight or something like that.
Or lung capacity.
Oh, I'd be screwed. I'd be out for 30 minutes then.
Woof.
Woof. Oh.
Not so good with the lungs.
No, I have a lower lung capacity, apparently.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
I know. It hasn't underserved me yet. So that's good.
Guess you got that going for you, which is nice.
Just a little bit. So
what are we talking about today?
A burning topic. We had a bunch of suggestions too, which I was really excited about. So we will be able to go balls to the walls with episodes, but I think today we need to talk about double standards.
Oh, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. They're just everywhere, thriving and alive, and
Oh, that's true.
I'm so fed up with them.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many freaking examples. Have you faced double standards before?
Yeah. More times than I can count.
Right? And sometimes it's just so general and it just happens and you don't even realize it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lot more commonplace than we realize, but once it's kicked up to I notice it a lot in intimate partner relationships, for example, is when it gets really kicked up and becomes blatantly obvious.
Oh, for sure.
Or toxic relationships.
Yeah, toxic or abusive relationships, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Or, workplaces.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a fun one.
That's an interesting one, too.
I think we should delve into that a little bit. When your boss shows up late or something every single day, but expects you to be on time.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one really grinds my gears.
Mm-hmm. Or having to be in person.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole
while
other
they're teleworking.
Yes, yes. Or the weekends, you have to work on the weekends, but they don't have to work on the weekends.
Yeah. I mean, I get that that's a seniority thing, but in some cases, but I don't know, double standard.
Well, then if we pick the time one, so why is it okay for one person to be on time and not the other? Why is there an expectation if your roles and duties and stuff are the same?
Yep.
Should all employees not be on the same time frame? Because they would tell an employee that you're stealing time if you're getting paid for a full day and you're not there in time if you're your salary employee, for example.
Yep.
So why should the boss not be held to that same standard?
I don't know.
And then they don't get reprimanded, but the employee does.
This is very true.
That's a whole problem.
That does happen a lot.
Absolutely it does.
Yep.
And it's not okay.
Nope. I agree.
There's nothing that can be done because it's a power dynamic and a power struggle.
It's like a pissing contest.
Oh, absolutely. But you show up late once for a valid reason. Maybe there's a snowfall and they're like, you were late? It's yeah, I was late once. How was the last 6 years of you being late gone?
Yeah, you're okay, thanks for that.
Right? Maybe I should take the day off because my work's always done on time and yours isn't, and I'm always here, but you're not. How is that fair?
How is that fair?
That's a huge one. I've seen that so many times in workplaces, and it absolutely drives me nuts.
Yep, I totally agree. And it's not just in the workplace. That's actually a really good one, though. But in terms of, you could go in any direction, really. You could take it into personal relationships. You could take it into friendships. You could take it into...
Oh, yes.
So many things.
Always there when you call. Always on time. Give you my all. So, baby, where's mine? Right? Yeah, that's my lead-in, man. Because you know what really else chaps my ass?
What?
Oh, my gosh. So, this happens so many times. So, let's call texting and phone calls.
Ooh.
Do you know what really gets me unglued? Is the fact that you're expected. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
You better answer their call or be at their beck and call or answer text messages right away.
Yep.
But it's okay for them to either ignore your call or take freaking 7 hours, 7 days to reply to your messages.
Yep.
But then they have the hubris to call you out the one time you're had a nap or we're at a doctor's appointment. That one was cute. That one was real cute.
Yep.
I get lambasted for being at an eye surgeon pre-op appointment and not answering my phone because my eyes were dilated. I took 3 hours to reply. And I got punished. And he declared punishing me.
Oh.
For 3 days.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
Check yourself.
And then had the audacity to say, it's because you did it to me first. I'm I beg your pardon? I have never ignored you. And how is that okay to have a double standard? Now I'm trying to get a hold of you and you're purposely not answering me to play a game?
Mm-hmm.
I'm but you on average can take forever to reply to me, but I'm held to a completely different standard?
That's actually incredibly rude.
Oh, it was so disrespectful.
Oh my goodness.
And it happens all the time.
It does.
And it goes into our last episode about how the games men and women play. That's another whole game.
It is a very big game. It's like a conspiracy.
Totally. It's such a double standard, but it happens in friendships too.
Absolutely it does. I think that a lot of times in friendships, it happens when it comes to advice.
Oh.
I think that it happens when one person is more than willing to give advice, but they are less willing to take it.
Yes.
Even if it's the same advice.
That is true.
If you turn around and you give someone the same advice that they've just given you, they get pissed off.
Yes, I have seen that multiple times throughout my whole life. Yes.
You're like, it just came out of your mouth. Why are you arguing with me about it?
Yes, the hypocrisy of the double standard, 100%. Yes.
I agree. Like, it's like the whole having to defend yourself and say, like, this is why the advice is wrong or right. Sometimes it's like, sometimes you agree with it. Like, that's not always the case.
That's not the problem, yeah.
But in the cases where you don't particularly agree with someone's advice, and then you turn around and because more often than not, I don't know if you experience this in any great quantity, but I find that I go through a lot of what my friends go through, and we do it in cycles.
Okay, speak to that.
Like if I'm having an issue with something, if I'm having an issue with a friend or a relative or something like that, like it happens at the time, and then, the next person will, another friend will have a problem with a friend or a relative, and it will kind of be like they're in the same boat. So I can relate.
Yeah, yes, that happens often. Yes, yep.
On the one hand, when I'm in the situation, they're more than willing to like give me some advice, and they're like, okay, like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And you're like, okay. So either you try it or you dismiss it, depending on, I guess, the advice and the person.
Yes.
But, when their situation comes around or they have something similar, it's almost like a lot of people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that advice.
I agree with that. And that actually does drive me nuts. And that one, you're right. That strikes a chord with me too, because if somebody comes to me with advice, I'll actually sit there and I'll think about, like, okay, you know what? Like, yeah, you make a good point. Maybe I should shift this, or maybe I was wrong here, or maybe I should try that. And I won't get butthurt or defensive unless I know that they're wrong and being judgmental or condemning me or something. But I'll actually sit there and listen to it.
Yep.
And respect it.
Yep.
And not turn around and chirp. But then the same has to work in return. If you want me to be open and honest and accepting of your viewpoints and listening to you and genuinely taking it in, then you best be able to do that and have the same respect and not like bite my face off.
Yeah. Because like when you're listening to that advice, it's coming from a place of love and respect and like it's coming from a place of someone who is concerned and cares about you. And that's, I think, the miss for a lot of people is that they don't realize that is also where it's coming from.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Instead they take it as a personal attack.
As an attack. Yeah.
Right. Like a pride and ego shot when it's not.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
It's not like I'm not telling you that you're doing something wrong. I'm just like, sometimes it helps just to point some stuff out. Sometimes it helps just to kind of see things through another set of eyes.
Yes. To try and help you out of the situation you're constantly in. Because what's the definition of insanity?
Is repeating the same action over and over again and expecting a different result.
Correct. And if you don't want the same results, then you don't do the same thing.
Yeah. Again and again.
Totally.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Which kind of segues into accountability.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, it's the same kind of topic. Like, if you want people to be accountable to their mistakes or the things that they say or their hurtful behavior or whatever the situation is or anything like that, then you have to be able to be accountable as well. And 9 times out of 10, I watch it happen all the time. It's happened to me. It's like, I'll be accountable.
Yeah.
I'll say sorry if I've messed up or if I was snippy or I missed something or I forgot something, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, I don't usually forget. We all know my memory.
This is true. It's kind of creepy.
But if I'm like really testy or I'm emotional or whatever and something comes out wrong, I'll be like, oh, sorry. Like, I didn't mean to say it that way. Like, I see how that could have come across.
Yep.
I have no problem taking accountability. But what drives me nuts is when people hold you to that standard, but they can't do it within themselves. And instead they Darvo you.
Yep.
Which is a little narc. It's a narc maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Defend, attack, reverse, victim, offender. If you guys don't know what that Darvo stands for. And so they'll get defensive and then they'll attack and they'll reverse the victim and the offender. So
Yep.
they'll become the victim.
Yes.
And play that card and make it sound like you're the one who's in the wrong.
Yes.
And then they won't take accountability. And they'll make every damn excuse in the book. And that drives me crazy.
Yep. Because you watch it happen. You watch it unfold in front of you. You can see it. You can see the gears turning.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's totally a frustration on my end, too. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think that I don't know if it's a manipulation. Like, I mean, obviously it is a manipulation on some level. But is it a conscious thing? Is it I guess that depends on the person.
Yes, I was just thinking that. Get out of my head. You're living here rent-free. Oh. Exactly. Like, for narcissists, it's definitely intentional. I think a piece of it's subconscious, but a lot of it's a conscious manipulation tactic.
Yeah.
I don't think that malicious people do it on purpose. I think a lot of it's a shot to their pride and ego, and it's an insecurity thing, and sometimes it's ingrained into them because of what their parents have been, or how their upbringing was, or what they've watched over the years, and they've just kind of become that way without realizing it.
Here's one. Here's a thought. In terms of the advice part, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've had conversations with people before where they've said, "I just need you to listen. I don't need you to solve it."
Yep.
So, what are your thoughts on the solving part? Like, if you're going to go to someone with a problem, do you kind of indicate whether you're looking for that type of advice, or if you're just listening for them to, like, if you just need them to listen? Because I feel like that's, some people are automatic to, like, they don't speak, they just listen. And other people are very quick to be like, oh, well, you need to do this and you need to do this. And you're just like, okay, but that's not why I'm telling you this.
That's a great question. And you know what? It's funny. So when you ask that, my initial response is I thought of an example of with like a certain person that I disclaim things up front. And I think what it comes down to is if I know the person really well and I know their personality and how they respond, then either I don't need to disclaim it because I know that they know me well enough.
Okay.
That they know when or when not to jump in and what to say and what not to say. So I don't have to disclaim it with like my really close friends, I won't.
Right.
But with people that are like friends but maybe not as close, or I know that they're apt to like jump on it and fix it right away and not listen, sometimes I'll disclaim and be like, hey, like, I'm having an issue, but I need you to like put your defenses down, hear me as a friend.
Yeah.
Don't try and fix it. Just listen and understand because I need some emotional validation right now. And I don't need you to be on the defense.
Yes.
And I'll actually say that out loud.
Yes.
Sometimes.
That makes sense. Yep.
Or I'll go to my good friends and be like, look, I am a complete wreck right now. Like, I'm looking at and I'm very self-aware.
You are. Yes, you are.
So I know when something isn't right. I'll be like, look, like, logically, I know this. Experientially, I know this. I was like, so it could go one or two ways. Emotionally, I'm feeling this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I can't make sense of it and come into like well-rounded thought pattern.
Yep.
And I can't regulate what to do about this situation based on all these factors. And I just need some outside input or opinion. Actually, you and I had that happen.
We've had that happen a lot. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for piecing that together because I kind of saw it from a different lens. My trauma was poking into it and eliciting one like lens of looking at the situation.
Yeah.
And then when you jumped in and kind of gave your input, I'm like, that's a really good point. I'm just going to kind of take a step back and roll with it that way.
Yeah, like give you a second set of eyes.
100%.
And sometimes that's what you need, and that's fine. But you kind of like you need to know your audience, I guess, is a really good point to kind of sum that up. Know your audience. And that makes sense.
We're on the receiving end. Like if somebody's talking to us about a problem, I would say like ask the question because I've done that before. Like, are you looking for an ear? Are you looking for a solution?
Yeah.
Or are you looking for a distraction?
Oh, those
are the three things that'll ask.
Okay. Yeah.
If I don't know what to do. Like, sometimes I'll be like, I don't know what to do. Like, help me. Then I can give my input.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true.
And yes, it's you kind of have to, it's better to ask the question than to make an assumption because then that causes friction.
I agree.
And some people are like, I don't know. And then at that point you're like, well, you kind of have to, it's kind of a judgment call then. you kind of have to.
And I mean, but if you know your audience and you know who you're with, then you know that kind of translates to a certain thing each and every time, and it doesn't change.
Totally. But if you don't know them well enough, then you can kind of like, hey, okay, well, you know what, I'm here to listen and here for support. I'm not really sure how to support you right now if you're unsure, but when you know what you need from me, then let me know and I can be of more assistance or whatever, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. I agree.
And I was kind of backtracking. I had a thought initially when we were talking a few minutes ago that kind of popped into my head too. Just like even double standards when it comes to high priority tasks and procrastination.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm working on a really important work project or something or whatever it may be, and I have to get it done, and the other person or someone on the receiving end will tell me, okay, like, cut out your distractions, make sure you get it done, you have a deadline, you need to do a good job, don't let Bob come in and distract you, or don't let Jane come in and distract you, cut them off. But, so they expect you to cut out those distractions, but when they want to come in, and they want your time, and they want to be a distraction, they expect you to stop that priority task and put yourself in a position of missing the deadline or not having the presentation ready or whatever it is.
Yep.
To give your time to them.
And I understand, okay, life happens. Everybody's going to have their emergencies. Everybody's going to have their meltdowns. Everybody's going to have those, okay? But when it happens, when it feels like it's, I don't know, maybe crying wolf, or it's something that happens on a regular basis and you kind of just, you can't take it seriously anymore. Is that something where you'll ignore a phone call if you know that that's happening? Like, you'll like put your phone away and be like, okay, like I can't deal with this right now. Do you ever do that?
In general, or when there's an important task?
Well, when there's an important task.
When there's an important task, like that's a tough one. I'm really bad at, I feel I have this drive to help and be there for people. So I very often will answer the call.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll kick myself after and say, okay, I just put myself behind by being there. So I am more apt to help. But if I know it's important and I know it's like, it's do or die, I got to get this done, then I will ignore it. I've gotten a lot better at it, but that's a boundary thing.
Boundaries.
And boundaries are something that took me years and years and years to learn. And I haven't mastered it I haven't mastered it, but I've become very good at it. Like, having to disconnect family and cut them off and stick to that, true to that. So, I would say, like if it's crucial timing, then yes, I'll absolutely ignore a call because I have to learn to put myself first. In those situations, and that it's not a personal thing.
No.
And it comes down to communication. Yeah. You just got to communicate that. And if it's a good person, they'll respect that.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
You're like, I need to hunker down. I need to do this. Like, I can't have any distractions.
Absolutely.
You're
and
like,
then you can pick it up later when you have the capacity. Because if you don't have the capacity either, you're not going to be helpful to either of you.
That's very true too. Yeah, like if you're kind of like spiraling yourself, you're not going to help anybody else that's spiraling.
Oh, absolutely. Like today I was bled dry. My capacity was 0. My social battery dead. Like there was nothing in me, like, at all. Yeah. I couldn't get out of bed half the day, like most of the day.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm like, I'm not going to be of service to anybody. I need to just have silence.
I just need to sit in my bed and cry.
Yes, absolutely.
I know. We've all had those days.
Totally.
I mean, yeah. Ideally, you have people that check on you and make sure that you're okay, which we do. Yes. We both do.
Yep.
So we're very lucky in that sense.
Shout out to our people.
Shout out to our peoples. Y'all know who you are.
Yep.
But, like, to have, I mean, and that can come back to accountability as well, because if you are sitting in bed for days and you're not getting out of the house and you're not doing anything and you're not, like, you're wallowing in whatever, like, you do need those people that are going to call you out and be like, look, like, you okay? Like, you need that kick in the butt sometimes.
No, I know another one. Oh. This one really grinds my gears.
Okay.
When you have to cater to another person's schedule,
Ooh.
but they refuse to cater to yours.
Ooh.
That one really enrages my soul.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm only available between the hours of 3 and 5. So if you want me in your life, you have to contact me between 3 and 5.
Yep.
So I have to cater to your schedule.
Oh my gosh.
But you don't respect my time or my schedule. Why is my life and the things I have going on any less important? If you valued me as a person and you valued our connection, valued our friendship, valued our working relationship, whatever dynamic it may be, then it would be an ebb and flow. There would be a give and take, not me constantly having to serve you to keep you in my life.
Yes.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh
and
my
that's
gosh.
just a brand new one as of this year.
Yeah, that's pretty, yeah.
I'm like, what have I been doing? It's so disrespectful to the umpteenth degree.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even privy to the fact that I was doing this. It was just that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not right. That's not fair. It's disrespectful. We're all busy. We all have stuff going on. Some of us, it's health related. Some of us, it's like emotional related. Sometimes it's work, travel, school, whatever the case may be, family.
And that's fine. Everybody has their own shit. Everybody has their own lives.
Yes.
That's totally cool.
We all have our own stuff. So it needs to be a give and take. It can't constantly be one side. You bow down to me or else too bad.
Yeah.
Or I'll pencil you in here when I have time.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
That one.
It's like when someone asks you, oh, what works for you? You're like, what? I don't understand the question.
Right? I'm like, oh, you care about my time? All of a sudden it's important?
Like, it's important? Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree.
That one drives me crazy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I need you to help me with this. I need you to help me with that. Okay, well, I can do it. Like, I mean, obviously, everybody has lives.
Yep.
So if it's something that is like, okay, like I already have this planned and this is when I'm free to help you out, it doesn't ever work that it's like, that's okay. It's like, well, what do you mean you can't like drop everything and help me right now?
Yes.
You're like, sorry? Like, I didn't realize that. I mean, to be fair, we do put ourselves in that position a lot.
Yes.
Okay?
That is true.
We put ourselves in a position where we will drop everything to help anybody that we can. But on the off chance that we can't, that we've made a prior commitment, that we have other stuff on the go, it's shocking to the people that expect it.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So, and, Lord, I'm lit up.
I'm getting her going today.
Oh
folks.
my gosh. Rattled. Triggered. I used to be friends with this lovely human being. And he, I was never allowed to be in a bad mood. He expected me to constantly be his little cheerleader. And like, I have no problem. I'm here to counsel, coach people, all that stuff, give and take. But you want to come to me with your problems every day for hours on end, and the one time I have a bad day, you're like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you? You're always happy. Why can't you just be happy? You're always the upbeat one, lifting everybody up. I'm like, oh, so I'm expected to always be like that? I'm not allowed to be human. I'm not allowed to have a down day. And then as soon as I talk about my relationship problems, all of a sudden I'm outcast. They're like, oh, you should. Why would you pick somebody like that? You're an idiot. And then just bypass me and blow me off and give me 3 seconds of time, but I've been listening to you for 3 months.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Not at all.
Bye, Felicia. You're gone for a reason. Sorry.
Yep. Totally.
No shade, no ill will, but I'm not being disrespected like that ever again.
And learning that as you get older, like, I mean, it's different when you're younger, right? Because like you feel like you have time on your side. You feel like it doesn't matter, right? Yep. And then as you get older and you kind of realize that life is pretty short.
Yes.
You do have to. You
need to protect your peace.
You need to protect your peace. You need to make your own way. And like, nobody is going to do it for you.
Yep.
Right? So, which is why a lot of the times the advice comes in handy. Right?
Yes.
Because like you go to your people, you know that this person's going to have your back. You know, like I'm going to tell this person this and they're not going to freak out on me.
Yep.
They're not going to have like an emotional meltdown.
Correct. It's a safe space.
It's a safe space. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. It's a safe space. And it's something that, and it's also something that isn't held against you.
Correct.
Right? Like you can come back to them and be like, happy, and they're not going to be like, oh, well, you know, why are you feeling that this way? Well, this is what you were feeling before. Where did that go?
Yep.
Like, they don't, it's not a callback and it's not a throwback to your trauma.
Yeah. Oh, callback. I like that. Yeah.
It's I'm here to listen, and I'm here to, like, I'll retain it if you need me to, but I'm not gonna dwell on this.
Or use it against you.
And
Yes, that's
I think
a big one.
that is huge for a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have that back and forth.
And it's hard to know, because it might be a safe space one day, but then years down the road, all of a sudden, if they change,
Yep.
because I've had that happen too,
Yep.
they'll start using that stuff against you.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be very careful who you trust.
Absolutely. And I honestly almost don't want to trust anyone anymore, because it seems to always turn.
Yeah.
And there was a quote years and years ago that I loved. It was like, don't tell people anything that you wouldn't be okay with being on the headline of a news or a billboard.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so powerful. Like,
Yeah.
that is so absolutely true. And I think we're very apt to oversharing.
Yes.
Which isn't a bad thing if you have a circle, but I think that's got to be established over time, and it has to be a two-way street and a mutual understanding. And I don't think it's always easy to find those kind of connections or healthy connections.
No, I agree.
It's tough. It's a very tough situation.
So it's like, you know, a friend is a friend is a friend. You got to be really, you know, they're too hard to come by.
Yes. And
you never buy an acquaintance anytime, but like someone that's going to stick by you, and someone that's not going to judge you when you're having your down days, someone that's going to, you know, hold you up when you fall and help you off the ground.
Or they're not going to say one day, like, oh yeah, you're doing great, you're getting better, and then the next day, I can't believe you have a downfall. Where's the dichotomy there? What's that about?
Well, that is a very definition of a double standard. Like, they, you know, I'm going to have down days. I'm human. I am not perfect.
Totally.
In any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
I can promise you that. I have many flaws.
There's just so many. I was thinking, like, canceling plans or arrangements or anything like that, or
Flaking.
Changing them. Yeah.
Flaking triggers me.
Oh, speak more to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People that, you know, or non-commitment.
Yeah, but they expect you to commit.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. You're like, if you're going to make plans with me, like, I don't demand a lot. Okay.
Yep.
If I am counting on a hangout, if I'm counting on something, please don't flake on me.
Yes.
Because that is almost as hurtful as you smacking me in the face. And I can't explain to you why. I don't know why that is such a trigger for me, or so high on that list, but it really bothers me.
And it could be for so many reasons, even like stemming back to childhood. But I think it really comes down to a lack of respect and not feeling valued or important.
Totally. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It could, like you're very low on the priority list.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you'll hang out with me until you find something better.
Oh, yeah. Like for me, a huge trigger is you'll hang out with everybody else, but you won't hang out with me. Yeah. I go through the roof, or ignoring me, but answering everybody else, or posting on your little social media, but you'll avoid me. Oh, yeah. I go through the effing roof.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
Totally.
We've been doing that a lot today.
All night.
I know.
All night. Ain't no stop till the breaking up of dawn. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. But then if you break plans or anything like that, you're public enemy number one.
Well, and I mean, you know, it has happened. I have done it, whether it's...
well, we've all done it. We've all had to change or cancel plans.
Yeah.
But it's not getting mad at someone for doing it if you do the same thing. Like, sometimes stuff comes up. But I've noticed that's been a pattern even in elementary school. Even all the way back in elementary school. Like, what really drives me nuts is those girls that will ditch their girlfriends for guys.
Oh.
They'll just up and ditch and cancel plans and switch up. But if you do that, God forbid, they're pissed off at you that you're not there with them and you went out with your dude.
Are you calling me out?
I'm not calling you out, but I could call you out. Hey, you used to do that.
I did.
You did. You were a bit of an ass.
I know.
I love you.
I love you.
But it's we all do fuck shit. But what I'm saying, we all do that kind of stuff from time to time. But when it's a constant thing and a double standard, that's not okay.
No.
Check yourself. reflect on your behavior and see what you're doing before you call somebody to the carpet or call them to have a standard that you can't uphold yourself.
Well, and I think because everybody's going to do it, okay? Everybody is going to change plans. And that's fine. That's not the issue. It's when it's something that is constantly happening, you kind of have the same jaded feeling about everybody if one person does it to you more than once.
Yeah, yes, and I've had that happen. Yeah.
You have someone that constantly cancels on you and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'm just not even surprised anymore.
Yeah, you come to expect it and you're like, I'm not.
But you come to expect it from other people and it's not fair to them.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
so that's a double standard on our parts. That's a double standard, on us. Yeah. And I can fully admit that I do that. I totally have that in my mind. I totally have that jaded thought.
Oh, we all have
I expect it.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. And I totally expect it from everybody because of someone that's done that to me for years.
Just like how I expect that I'm always just going to not be a priority and overlooked. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So I think that, when it comes to double standards, we definitely have our own, and I can fully admit that I have some. I try to call it out when I see it. I don't like to beat around the bush for a lot of things.
Yes.
I do feel that as I get older, I'm finding it harder and harder to care enough to do anything about it sometimes. I feel like I'm seeing the double standard happening, but I'm at a point where it's just like, you know what? You're going to do it anyway, so I'm just not even going to say anything.
Yeah, and see, I feel like there's pros and cons to that too. Like for me, I preach communication all the time.
Yes.
It's big. Like communication causes and solves 95% of all problems, and you can't have hidden expectations because they cause resentment.
No.
You need to open your mouth.
Yes.
And if something bothers you, you need to resolve it. Yes. And I'm not scared to jump in. It is harder with some people when you know they're going to attack you.
Yes, they won't take it well.
Yes. So it is harder, but it's necessary. And if you can get past that and it's a good person and a healthy connection and relationship, then it'll be worth it in the end. And I think that's kind of a good thing. Like what do you guys think? What viewers? What are your thoughts? Like what kind of double standards have you faced and how have you overcome them? Because we've kind of talked a lot about examples of double standards and what they are, but we haven't really given anyone some input or on what we do to get past them or solve them.
And do you think that it's by talking about it with other people, do you think that that's creating a healthy boundary? Like, do you think that would strengthen a relationship, or do you think that would be something that you would maybe want to keep on the edge and not talk about as much?
Like between the two people, a conflict?
Yeah.
I think it absolutely, you have to talk about those kinds of things. I mean, if you're good with using us as an example.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, like in the beginning, obviously we both have our own, like when we first met, we have our own insecurities, we have our own trauma and baggage, and we clashed heads for a while.
Yeah,
and we weren't really sure how to kind of navigate each other's like insecurities and fears, and there was friction.
Yeah.
But then when we hashed it out, we had our friend kind of help a little bit navigate that and encourage us, and we got past it by talking.
Well, and I think especially with the the points of sensitivity, I know you definitely came to me and told me this is what bothers me and here's why.
Yeah. And this is what I can do on my end to fix it. I need this from you.
Well, and it taught me a lot about the art of conversation and communication. It taught me a lot about the standard to which I want to hold all of my friendships and relationships.
Yeah. And look at us now.
I know.
It's lovely. And it took a bit, but it was good because it wasn't like a yelling match or a swearing match or being rude. It was like, this is how I'm feeling. This is why. This is where it comes from. Can you understand this? And if you didn't, or I didn't, we keep hashing it out until it made sense. And it's a repeated thing. Are we going to be perfect? No, there's going to be slip ups every now and then. We can hey, nudge, and we have that understanding. We have that respect.
Well, and I think that is where we don't have that double standard. You can flat out tell me that something bothers you.
Likewise.
And you can, exactly. You can call me out on it and I'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, sorry, that's my bad. Right?
Yep, same.
And if I don't realize it, I'll take a second look and be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right.
Totally.
It does happen, and it happens for both of us.
Absolutely.
So I think that we But again, that is something that we have worked towards consciously.
Yes. Because we're on the same page and we value the connection enough. So to answer the question, your question, and if the viewers are wondering, like, how do you get past that? Communicate about it. And don't come from an attackative lens. Don't have an ego. Don't have a pride. Don't make each other the issue.
Yes.
Make the issue the issue.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's not about cutting the other person down. It's not about them. It's about, this behavior bothers me and this is why. Let's solve that.
And no one's problems are worse than another's.
Exactly.
Everybody has their own problems. Contest. It's not a pissing contest. Everybody has their own shit.
Yes.
Everybody has their own shit. Let people deal with their own shit. If you can help and you want to help, great. But don't hold them to the standard of being there and helping you in your shit if you don't want to be there to help them in theirs.
Or hold them to a standard, or to hold them to your own standard, or expect them to be and react like you, because everybody's different.
Yes.
Everyone's going to handle things different ways, different timelines. You can't hold someone to the same standard as yourself.
Nope.
On a respect fundamental level, absolutely, but not a reaction action behavioral level or cognitive processing level.
Not, because it becomes juvenile at that point.
Absolutely.
Yep. I totally agree. I think that's very smart.
And I think another way to solve the double standard is also, aside from communication, which is number one, I would say boundaries.
Absolutely.
Once you communicate it, you have to stick to it and follow through.
Yeah.
You can't just allow someone's behavior to go on and on and on, because then it's your problem. You are the problem. You're allowing it. You're enabling it.
What was that quote about something that if you allow it, you choose it?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't know if I know that one.
It was I've heard it. I think Mel Robbins said it. Somewhere.
Probably. That sounds like a Mel Robbins thing.
It was something like, like if you accept it and you allow it, you're choosing it.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So if you're accepting that behavior and you're accepting that double standard, then you are choosing it.
And I had to put that in place with some of my family members.
Yeah.
I had to say, look, I warned you. You've been doing this repeatedly over and over, and I've been a doormat to it and accepting it for years and years and years. And if you continue to do this, I'm going to have to cut you out. It's not out of disrespect. It's not because I want to. It's because I'm forced to, because you're breaching a boundary. And now if I don't follow through on that, then I'm enabling it and letting them get away with it, and they'll never take me seriously. And I've had to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not somebody that's going to do that off of like one occasion. I'm not going to block someone unless it's like volatile, but I will not reply to them, or I will not engage with them. I will forgive people. I'll wish them well, but I'm not going to allow you to keep doing that over and over and over, because then now it's my fault.
Yep. I agree.
People cannot suck the life out of you unless you give them the straw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. I like that.
Right? So then take away the straw and you won't be sucked dry.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I think, and I mean, if we aren't clear, if we haven't made this very clear, both of us struggle with mental health issues. Most of the people we know struggle with mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you that don't, holy cow, I'm jealous.
We want to know you!
Yeah, tell us your secrets.
Please, if you have any ways or input on how to deal with double standards and what you kind of do that we haven't touched on aside from communication and holding a boundary.
Yeah.
What do you do and how do you navigate that?
Yeah. We go to therapy. That's how that's how we manage. That's how we deal. That's how we're learning to set boundaries. We're learning a lot of things. It's not perfect. It's always going to be something that we'll have to work on.
Yes.
Because that's life. That's how it is.
And you know what? This is actually good. I feel like we should do a little segment here on stigma on therapy. There should not be stigma. Everyone needs help. Even therapists need therapists. Yeah, so I agree.
I think that we should totally do mental health, the stigmas, for sure.
Yes, we'll talk more about that in another episode.
Yes, we will.
Never be afraid to seek help.
Never be afraid to seek help. Please do. It's definitely worth it, and it's definitely helpful, and it's life-saving.
It is. I finally found a therapist.
Yeah, me too.
For years later, finally, God sent one.
Yep. Absolutely. Amen.
Great. Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
Until next time.
Take care. Have a great night.
You're listening to Blind Chats with the Backroad Chicks. Thanks for joining our late night cruise.
for help keeping your drive alive. Please tune in next week for more shenanigans.